Hi, my name is Jeff Pagano and welcome to the Harping on Rugby preview show. Joining me today to look ahead to Leinster's next match is someone who enjoyed last week's preview so much, came back to do another one. To earn cap number 33. Welcome back to Mr. Neil Keego. Keegan.
How are we? In an embarrassing turn of events, we're wearing the same clothes. But sure, look, it's grand.
Forgot to text ahead, you know. Nice headgear you've got on. We had Stephen from Master of None pod on during the week, so it's all good showing his merch.
Absolutely. Look, we take care of our own. He was telling us that he sold out of the blue and the green already. So a lot of reds left for anyone who wants a red hat.
I wonder who'd be looking for a red hat. I'm not exactly sure, but sure, we'll see what happens. So anyway, let's crack on, shall we? This week's feature match is, of course, Connacht v Leinster. It's in round 5 of the BKT United Rugby Championship for 22-23. It's taking place on the new 4G pitch out in the sports ground in Galway on Friday, October the 14th, kicking off at 7:35 p.m., being shown on RTE2, Premier Sports 1, Super Sport, Discovery Channel, and the URC.tv, where you'll get all this season's matches for just $6.99 a month. Leinster named their matchday squad at lunchtime on Thursday, so why don't we crack on with harping on it, shall we? Starting with the back line, which should be appearing here as I'm pointing on if you're watching on YouTube. At 15, fullback again is Jimmy O'Brien. On the wings, we've got Rob Russell, and back for Leinster now is Liam Turner. And then the centers are Charlie Natai, Gary Ringrose, who's our captain, and the halfbacks are Cormac Foley and Ross Byrne. What do you make of that, Keego?
Yeah, I love it. As we were talking about last week, I love what's happening early doors with how the guys are putting the teams together. And then we'll get onto the bench in a minute as well, which is brilliant. But it's great to see Jimmy O'Brien. When you're on a run, like we were talking about with Sheehan, you get them on the pitch as often as you can. Jimmy's on a run, and they've recognised it. I love seeing guys like Liam Turner in there, Cormac Foley in there, in the real positions where there's going to be a lot of ball thrown at them. There's always the target on the back of the blue jersey, and Connacht have a bit of steam behind them after last week. So it's great to get these guys in under pressure without overdoing them. The worry is when you want to throw them all in and give them game time, but you got to bring them along. You can't just fire them into a semi-final. You've got to build them up, and this is all part of that journey. So, yeah, happy with that. Our leader, again, Ringrose at 13. The amount that guy has stepped up over the last 2 years as a leader is fantastic, especially when that thing that we don't talk about is going to happen at the end of the season. We've got guys like Ringrose, and there's guys on the bench too to come on and lead the team. Listen, I'm happy so far. It's all uphill from here.
Absolutely. He had a great shift on the wing there last weekend. He was kind of thrown in there earlier than he thought he was going to come in. And of course, we all saw what happened there. But yeah, definitely. It's a great back line. And Cormac Foley as well. He's been doing really well. And this is a good chance for him to start and show us what he can do for a full game. So we'll be looking forward to that. All right. Okay, so moving on to the pack. And in the forwards, we have front row, Ed Byrne, Dan Sheehan, Ty Furlong.
Hey!
Second row, Ross Maloney and James Ryan. And then back row, Caelan Doris is back, Josh van der Flier, and also Jack Conan.
Look, what can you say? Like, delighted to see, obviously, Furlong back. Sheehan, much like Jimmy, you've got to get these guys on the pitch as often as possible. Conan is one of the first names on every single team sheet on every single team he's going to play in. Like, it's insane. I can only imagine playing against that pack, because everyone can run, everyone can pass, everyone can kick. Some of them even do 50-22s. It's insane, the kicks, the skills that the guys have. So, yeah, it's great. I put asterisks obviously beside Furlong and Ryan coming back in. So, yeah, it's look, what can you say that hasn't been said already? Massive.
Yeah. Brilliant. And good to see James Ryan back after coming out. And with the way Jason Jenkins has been playing, who's fully deserved a week off, though maybe the Munster fans aren't so keen because that might be next week. But James Ryan is going to come back, and he'll need to put in a really good shift as well, because Jenkins has really shown his worth over the past few weeks. So it's a great pack, and good to see that back row's in again. Of course, good to see Caelan Doris back as well. And Dan Sheehan, I think he's just always going to play for us. I think he's starting pretty much every game now, and it's amazing the minutes he's putting in at this stage of the season, and he's doing so well. So in there. Right, so now on to Leinster's bench. And as you can see, it is John McKee at 16, Andrew Porter and Michael Alatoa, the props. Joe McCarthy's back from South Africa, and he's number 19. Martin Maloney's at 20. Nick McCarthy, 21. Kieran Frawley, good to see his name back in the team sheet, 22. And then Robbie Henshaw, 23.
Like, we're talking about leaders and leaders all over the pitch. You've got Porter there, you've got Henshaw there. Obviously, you've got Frawley, who they want to get in there, and he'll probably get some game time, depending on how. I'm sure the gas is there for the guy, but just they want to get minutes into him as well. But then you look at the spread. You got John McKee coming in. You got obviously Alatoa's there as well. Like, there's a couple of changes you might make if absolutely everyone was fit. But if you look at the bench and you look at the opponents. And you look at what's coming down the line, it's a perfect mix there. You've got leaders on the pitch, you've got guys who are breaking through, and you've got relative newbies as well. So you kind of every single thing is covered in this squad. I keep saying it. It's so impressive how they're putting these together like a jigsaw puzzle, so that when we get to the business end of the season, coming in off the big game last week, we get to the business end. Fingers crossed. Hopefully, I haven't jinxed everything. All the guys will have game time by the time, fingers crossed, we get to the end of the season, and they will have big games. It's not just the smaller games. This is an interprov. This is a target on our back. This is Connacht wants that big result coming in off last week, with all due respect and without trying to start a fight with everyone again. Last week wasn't a big result for them. This week, if they were able to get something out of this game, that is a result. That's what they're coming for. And so you've got a nice spread of newbies of experience and in between on the bench to kind of get that experience so that when we get to the end of the season, they're not overawed by it.
Yeah, and it's good to see the likes of Joe McCarthy's name. We were wondering how the emerging Ireland players would be fed back into the squad. There's more still to come, but he's there, and he got his game time. But we want to see these guys in blue as soon as possible, getting ready to show what they can do for Leinster. And also, of course, Kieran Frawley, very important. I mean, he would be. If he was fit, he would have been on that tour anyway. So we probably wouldn't have had him for this game, other than on the bench anyway. But it's good to see him back to action a lot sooner than we thought he might have been, and he'll get some game time as well. Fingers crossed. Okay, so that's the Leinster lineup. Now, one last thing about the Leinster lineup I want to say is that for the past 3 weeks, and it's often happened, particularly with Leinster teams, the team we see announced isn't always the team that's actually ends up playing. Actually, on Saturday against the Sharks, I actually got official confirmation that that was the team that was named was going to play. And then right after that, it was like Conan pulled out. So you need to wait until they actually kick off the game to see it's the team. I don't, that's not a complaint, but it's just you always have to be mindful of the team that's named on the Thursday as opposed to the team that actually takes the field. So we'll see what actually happens. Hopefully that's the team. That's a really good 23, and hopefully that is the team that ends up playing. Okay, so now we move on to our opposition. Connacht had their first win of the season on Friday in their home opener against Munster. And if you hop back on our feed, go back one pod, you'll hear a chat I had earlier in the week with Stephen Murphy from the Excellent Master of None pod, all about their side of the equation. If you're watching on YouTube, again, hopefully my graphics department will have their team at the bottom of the screen. Otherwise, on the pod, you'll see their team in the program notes. What do you make of it, Keego?
I've got to watch how I phrase it. It's the best they can do. They're obviously missing Bundy. There's a couple of things happening. They don't want to rush the guys back. They don't want to rush Blade back in, so he's on the bench. There's a lot of really good plays. You look at their, and I sound like I'm patting them on the head, and I really don't mean it like that. But there is going to be a massive gap between what they were up against last week, and again, try not to start an argument last week, and what they're going to hit this week. But you look at the run of form Beelam's on, for example, full of experience, really turned the screw last week really well, led that front row really well. That's another thing. I like their second row. They're good, they're solid, and there's a target on Ryan, especially when he comes on. He came on. There was maybe a little bit of ring rust with him there, so there's a target on him. You turn Ryan over. That's a leader that you're turning over, and that's worth a bit of credit. You got Boyle sitting there at number 8. You got Carty, obviously. I like Hawkshaw. Obviously, Hansen is brilliant. It's the best they can do. You know what I mean? And they will leave everything on the pitch. You look at all the stats, you look at all the things, there's no real closeness in it. I'm just having a quick scan at it here. They're giving away too many penalties. tackle success rate is pretty similar. Line-out's pretty similar. Their scrum has been leaky, and you've got to, up until last week, they're leaking a scrum, and they're coming in against that pack from Leinster. I just don't know how. Bealham, yes, he's on a run of form. He has experience, but they can't put up with our 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then you throw in the back row. That's going to be how they have to try and limit the damage. That's going to be horrific. It's going to be a car crash.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's also a lot of ex-Leinster players in the 23 as well, but looking to some that just left last season. Peter Dooley, I mean, that's a decent front row, like you said. Billy Behan, Peter Dooley can definitely do a job, and you've got, like you say, Hawkshaw, a former Leinster. Josh Murphy at number 6, he's been doing well. Stephen was saying that that first run of games, he really impressed, even though they struggled on that away trip they had. And then on the bench, you know, Tom Daly has done well against Leinster in the past, and Dennis Buckley's not a bad name to be taken off the bench either. So they'll definitely be looking to put one over on Leinster. But that's the Connacht team. Okay, so let's have a look at the officials. Now, we said it last week, and we'll say it every week. You know, it doesn't matter who the officials are. You got to play to the ref. I do know you don't often hear groans through Twitter, but when Frank Murphy was named during the week, you could actually, it was actually audible out of your phone. Put a timeline when it's Frank Murphy. But again, you said it yourself, Keego. We got to know how the ref does his thing, and you got to play to him.
100%. The guys know how every ref is going to ref the game, and like any good coach at any level is going to know what the story is with the ref. Without the research, the ref is going to make the decisions in the first 5-10 minutes. They're going to go for the whole game. These guys know exactly which way he's going to go. You know, absolutely. I'm not worried.
Yeah, I mean, from fans' point of view, I think it's okay for us to disagree with his decisions. You know what I mean? It's like there's not this thing where you must not question the ref. It's like if there's a call and you say, no, I think he did this, and the ref said he did that. I mean, it's okay to say it, but this whole thing of oh God, no, not that ref, as if we lose, it's okay because it was because of him before ball's even been kicked. I mean, that's just getting boring at this stage, I think. Okay, so that's the official. So let's move on to our prediction time. We're looking at, it's Connacht v Leinster. The bookies are saying Leinster at the time, just after the teams were announced. They were saying bookies have Leinster by 10. What do you make it?
Being nice, I think 10 is low. I think there's a big score in this team. I know it's in Connacht. I know there's a lot that goes with that, but I think there's too much on the blue side of that lineup. I think it's 10 plus.
Yeah. I'm like what I said to Stephen during the week, we talked about it. I was like, if anyone are saying that Connacht cannot win on Friday, they haven't been paying attention. It definitely can be done. I think it's important they get off to a really good start. Leinster in the last 4 matches have pretty much scored tries in their first attack. They've gotten a penalty and then a line out in the 22 and then boom, try. If Connacht can avoid that, and they do have players out there that can have good shifts. One name I didn't mention, Gavin Thornbury. He's really good in their second row, and he's going up against James Ryan, and he can really impress. And the home crowd behind them, all that going on. Obviously, we looked at the weather forecast. It's definitely going to rain. We know that's going to rain. But the wind, I think the wind is going to be only 25 kilometers an hour according to the forecast now, which is nothing. That's no wind for Galway. But we'll see. If they get off to a decent start and Leinster don't manage to score in their first couple of attempts, it could progress from there. But we'll see. But I'm still going on form. I'm actually saying Leinster by 21. That's kind of, I always do those big numbers as a challenge. I think they should be going for that. They should get as many points as we can from this time in the season. Okay, so quickly we'll go over the other matches. Lions against Ulster on Saturday.
It's going to be close. I think there's 5 in it either way. I want Ulster to win. I like what they're doing. I think they deserve it. I think they should be there at the end of the season. Let's go for it. Ulster plus 5.
Yep, that's the bookies say Ulster plus 3. I've actually gone Lions plus 3, but it literally, you're right, it could literally go either way. It could be a kick one way or the other. And then we got Munster against the Bulls. That's in Thomond Park.
If the Munster support show up, they'll give them that extra boost to win. I don't see Munster winning a game. You know what I mean? And I know I'm broken record here. I don't see them winning that game. yeah, they're not going to win. It's again 5-7 points in the difference.
Okay, the bookies have Munster by 3. I'm going Munster by 5 because they really need a performance and a win in front of their home crowd. But I think that's their first game in Thomond, is it, this season?
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. Okay, listen, right, we're going to leave it there, man. Many thanks to Keego for joining me today. To be sure to enjoy the match wherever you are. And at the full-time whistle, why not head to the Harpin on Rugby Facebook page and leave your thoughts. We'll share them on a wrap-up pod on Saturday. And in the meantime, stay safe, everyone. Slán.
Cheers.